Okay, welcome back to another video. I'm Yao from VANTAGE Tutor, a class above the rest. Now today we're going to do another trigo question, but not really trigo identity, but rather the intro to your trigonometry in your A math. Okay, so basically we learned that in your E math Sec 2, trigonometry is a ratio of the sides of a right angle triangle. Okay, and now we're going to apply it to a context of A math where we talk about in the different quadrants. Now, this question is from Swiss Cottage Secondary School. Okay, it's a Sec 3 question, doesn't matter. A lot of you have asked me where I got all these questions from. I basically collate them myself from all my different sources, and then I put it into a prelim vault. So I collate them, and this is for my own students to try. So if you're interested, you can either follow me on TikTok first, then DM me. If not, you can go on to my website. It's in the link in my profile description. Also send me an email. I'll let you purchase it if you're interested. Alright, let's get started. So now this question. Very typical question in your A math, the intro to A math trigonometry. They always tell you the trigonometry ratio first, which is tangent A equals to 8/15. Then they tell you that tangent A and sine A have different sign. That means now you can see that your tangent A is positive. If you sine your A value, it's gonna be a negative. Okay, then from here you can actually find, they actually ask of you to find your cosecant, sine, and cosine, whatever. Okay, so to start this question, I don't usually memorize many things. Okay, if you want, you can follow my way. If not, you can memorize all the different formulas, or you can even use your identities, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna show you how I do it my way. So firstly, if I look at this, they tell me that tangent A equals to 8/15. I learned in my E math that trigonometry ratio, tangent A is equals to my opposite over my adjacent. So now I go to my space over here. I'm gonna draw my 4 quadrants. Okay, so as you all know, your ASTC, okay, all science teacher .com, whatever it is, okay, where my first quadrant is all the trigonometric function will be positive, then second quadrant will be sine, cosine, tangent and cosine. Not important to me. So now I know that tangent A is a positive value. It's either gonna be in the first or third quadrant. For which, again, if I read the question, they tell me that tangent A and sine A have different sign. That means if I sine this angle, I'll get a negative value. And that will automatically eliminate my first quadrant as a possible answer. So now I know that the quadrant is in the third quadrant. I can finish my triangle. Okay, so I form a right angle triangle over here. Okay, then you can see right here. And if I refer back to my value, you can see that it's 8/15, where 8 is my opposite, 15 is my adjacent. Okay, so I need to just put in the values right now. My opposite, so this is my angle right here, my basic angle rather. My angle A goes like this. But usually I only take my basic angle, as you'll learn later on in a different chapter. So I take my basic angle, so my opposite is going to be 8. And then it's going to be 15. Okay, now just based on looking at this right angle triangle, I can tell that I can find my hypotenuse, which I probably need at some point in the question anyway. So even without reading the question, I can look for the hypotenuse first. Part 1. By Pythagoras theorem, I can say that hypotenuse equals to square root of 15 square plus 8 square, which is square root of 289, equals to 17. So I can put in my value 17. From here, I can solve my question. My question asks for cosecant of negative A, right? So I can just write cosecant of negative A equals to, this is my trigo identity, cosecant is going to be 1 over sine of negative A. Now for me, I don't memorize anything. If some of you memorize, you know that sine of negative A is actually equals to my negative sine A. Okay, then from here I just put in my values. Okay, for me I don't do it like that. I'm going to show you how I do it because I'm a lazy guy. I don't memorize. So if A is going this way in a anti-clockwise direction, my negative A is going to be in the reverse direction. Somewhere like this. It's going to be up here. Okay, so you can see that if I apply the same trigonometric ratio, okay, I can say that this is going to be equals to 1 over negative of, okay, my opposite is going to be, oh right, I forgot something. Now if you look at the quadrants itself, this 15, 8 and whatnot is actually a representation of the coordinates. So this is not just 15, it's going to be negative 15, and this is going to be negative 8. Because if you read the coordinates, it's going 15 units to the left is negative 15, going 8 units down is negative 8. So that's why there's a negative sign, and ultimately, when you put it in your trigonometry ratio, it's going to be 8, negative 8 out of negative 15. The negative sign cancels out, that's why you get a positive value. Okay, so from here, if I put in my values, okay, my sign is actually my opposite over hypotenuse. My opposite is actually negative 8 over 17 equals to, apply a bit of my Sec 2 algebra, it's actually 17 over 8 positive equals to 2 and 1/8, which is the answer you can see right here at the bottom right. Okay, so this is the first part, and we're done. Now, let's move on to the second part. Second part, they're asking for sine 90 minus 8. Okay, sine 90 minus 8. So let's do it over here. Let's use a different ink. Alright, sine 90 minus a. Right, so in this case, sine 90 minus a, I can redraw my quadrant again. Let's shift it down here. Again, it's going to be in the third quadrant. Okay, my angle is supposed to be here. So let's use a different ink. This is my basic angle. Then I complete my triangle. My dimensions remain the same. Okay, so 90 minus a. Now, if you look at this triangle, you can see that because it's a right angle triangle, this is 90 degree. And because you know that the sum of angle in a triangle is 180 minus 90 minus this angle, you can actually, or rather the addition of all of them, okay, you can actually say that this angle right here is actually your 90 minus a. Because if you take 180 minus 90 minus a, you're supposed to get this. 180 minus 90 is actually 90 itself. So ultimately, we are trying to find my trigonometry ratio with respect to this black angle right here. That means now, my dimensions, as much as they remain the same, so it's still negative 15, negative 8, and this is 17. Okay, now my negative 15 is actually my opposite, whereas my negative 8 is now my adjacent. So now knowing that, I can just put in my values. Okay, so it's gonna be opposite over adjacent. So sorry, I don't need the adjacent. Opposite over hypotenuse, right? So I can just take, which is negative 15 over 17, and that's the answer. Again, bottom right corner. Okay, very convenient to use. If you like one, purchase one. Okay, next one. Let's go to part 3. Part 3, they're asking for cosine A, cotangent A. So let's go here, different ink. Okay, so let's copy down the question first. I want cosine A, cotangent A. Now, I can expand this. Cosine A is just cosine A, obviously. Okay, but my cotangent A is actually 1 over tangent A. So now I go back to my quadrant over here. Okay, not this one. This one is a bit messed up already. Let's draw a new one again. Again, dimensions remains the same. Draw it like this. This right angle triangle, negative 15, negative 8, 17. So I know that my cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is negative 15 over 17, 1 over my tangent A, from which I know from the question itself is 8 over 15. So I sub in 8 over 15. 8 over 15. So from here, just do a bit of algebra manipulation. Times 15 over 8. So 15 times 15, 15 square is negative 225. 17 times 8, I don't have the value. So 17 times 8, let me press the calculator very quickly. 136. So 136, I take 225. Divide by 136. And that should give me math. Fraction. 225. Oh no. Still the same thing. Basically, my calculator don't give me the mixed number. I would trust that my answer right here at the bottom right is correct. So it is going to be negative 189 or 136. And that's the end of the question. Alright, so in this question you can see that nothing special. Basically, it's an extension from an EMath. We are just using your trigonometric ratio. Know your adjacent, know your opposite, know your hypotenuse, and then you can find whatever value they ask of you to find. Okay, the only add-on is that you must know your different quadrants, your A, S, T, C. First, second, third, fourth quadrant. Alright, so that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoy what I've done. I'm on my way to 1,000 followers. So if you like what I do, you enjoy what I do right here. Sometimes I have videos on YouTube, sometimes I have it here. Give me a follow. Once we get 1,000 followers, we'll have some fun. I'll do a TikTok live. Okay? Not that kind of fun, but we're gonna do questions. Alright? So that's all for today. This is Yao Le from VANTAGE Tutor, a class above the rest. Take care.